Hi, welcome. Now I am going to show you how to overcome this error. The type of connection selected cannot be used to create a pivot table error. Whenever you use the insert pivot table option, okay, to try to bring a text data from a text file and creating a pivot table. Okay, I will explain to you what is the error, and you might have come across this error often, and we will see the workaround. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a pivot table, and the table or range is not any range here, because the data I'm going to bring it from the text file. So I'm using a use an external data source. Okay, so I choose a connection. I don't have the connection for my text file. I am going to browse it. Okay, browse. Okay, once I am going to browse it, it shows all the data sources available. So I am going to my data files, where I have the text file. My text file is sales tab delimited. Okay, or okay, let's use okay, sales tab delimited file. Okay, press OK. Once I press OK, it shows that my data is the data file is there, is showing delimited. Okay, so the whether it is a delimited file or fixed width file. Mine is a tab delimited file, so I just put delimited. It has data headers because my first row is product customer, which is a data header. Okay, so I press my data has headers, and also import data from any row. Okay, this option is also available in the import part, so I just import it from the first row itself. Okay, next. Okay, once I click delimiter, my delimiter is tab, so it separated the columns according to the tab. Okay, the interesting thing is that treat consecutive delimiters as one. Okay, so if I have multiple delimiter consecutive delimiters are there, then I can treat as one, or if I leave it as it is, then it will separate each delimiter. It will include one column. Okay, the value will be separated by column wise. Okay, then next. Then I select these two columns are text columns. This is also text, because one is the product and next is the customer. The different columns are, these columns are numbers as well as text blanks, so I leave it as general. Okay, general means if there is a numeric value, it will convert to number. Date value is date, the other remaining will be in the text. Okay, so I press OK. Then what happens, you see, it goes and choose the connection is set here. Okay, then the where do you want the pivot table to be? I want the pivot table to be in the existing worksheet, my current worksheet, maybe in the second cell onwards. Okay, then I press OK. Then you see what happens. It says the type of connection selected cannot be used to create a pivot table. After we do all this work, it's saying that the connection selected cannot be used to create a pivot table. Okay, now how to overcome this problem? Okay, I just put OK. Okay, go to data from text. Okay, get external data. Instead of doing this one, insert pivot table, go to data from text in external data. Okay, now you go and select that sales tab delimited. Now the same text import wizard is coming. You do the delimited, the same thing. My data has headers. Next is tab, so I press tab delimiter. Next I choose the columns which are text, I make it text. Okay, the other columns are general, so that because I have header as well as the numbers. Okay, then press OK. Okay, once you press OK, it shows the import data Okay, my input data is, it has 4 types. Okay, select how you want to view this data in your workbook. If it is MS SQL database or MDB or anything, you can create pivot table directly. Okay, for the text file it has only one option, which is table. Okay, so you must bring as a table, then you create a pivot table on that. Okay, so I'll just say I want the data to be on the next new worksheet and press OK. Okay, so in the worksheet, new worksheet, it created and brought the data. Okay, so this one, you may be wondering, okay, what will happen every time I change the file? I'll show to you later. Okay, so what this is the data, you brought it already. Okay, fine. Now use this data. Okay, this is a text file data. Okay, in this file what you are going to do is that you are going to create a text file, pivot table, insert pivot table. Okay, so you already selected the data. Now this is the data for the pivot table. Okay, so now you want to put it, where do you want to put the pivot table? In the new worksheet. Okay, press OK. Once you press OK, what happens is that it gives 2 sections. One is the pivot table report section and other is the pivot table fields. Okay, from here you can select the fields and it will, pivot table report will appear here. So I select from the pivot tables fields fan, I select the product and the product count. Okay, so I change the name. So for example, you did the pivot table already. Okay, this is your pivot table. Okay, this pivot table based on the data from your text file. Okay, but this pivot table physically based on the sheet data. Okay, which is in the worksheet. Okay, this worksheet data is from your table, your text file. Okay, so the process is two steps. Okay, so what will happen? Okay, now I just have a refresh. Okay, if I have a refresh, what will happen? The sheet whatever updated, it will be refreshed. For example, Anton, I put Anthony. Okay, this is not in the field. Okay, so what I'll do, okay, mutton, I put muttons. Okay, so if I refresh this data, refresh, then you can see also there is muttons there. Okay, whatever you updated now in the sheet data. Okay, but this is not updated really in the text file. Okay, so now our problem is every month I receive a different text files but the same format. Okay, from some other department. How can I keep this pivot table and reuse it? If it is some other database, whatever they update there automatically will be reflected when you press refresh in the pivot table. But since it's a text file, okay, and this pivot table depends on this data, not on the text file data. Okay, so when I press refresh, okay, it is updating the data in the sheet. Okay, it updating data from the sheet, not from the text file. So how can I refresh the pivot table? Okay, so this is the question. So first what we will do is we will update. Okay, we will update and see. I'll just first I'll make it as yes. Okay, I remove this, the pivot table. I just refresh. Okay, so this is our data. What happens, I just go to the data files, I take this sales tab, delimited data. Okay, the mutton 1, I will make it as mutton 1 and save. Okay, now I come here. Now I will refresh the table. Let's see whether mutton one comes. Okay, now I'll see. No, the mutton one is not there. That means whatever happens in the text file or the text file is replaced, it is not affecting the pivot table because the pivot table cache is built on this data the first time whatever you imported. Okay, so how to overcome this problem when I change text file there? Okay, different text file or the same text file updating some data. Okay, that one is two steps involved here. Instead of just refreshing here, you must refresh the table data first. Okay, so how can I refresh the table data? I just right click refresh here. Okay, so first I will refresh the table data. So press refresh, then it will show you the same thing that last time what we did, the same file. Okay, import text file. Okay, now what you can do, either you can select a different text file or the same text file which is updated. Okay, so just put a import. Now it will do a import. This time the data is updated in the table itself. Okay, so now this is the table sheet. From the table sheet we build the text file, the pivot table. So this one you refresh pivot table, now it will update the pivot table. Okay, let's go and see. Mutton one is appearing. Okay, so it's very fine, you keep the text file in this fashion. Okay, what we need to do is you need to have one more extra step to update the table first. Okay, so this table brings the source data from the text file. Once you update the table, then you update the pivot table. Okay, instead of you think that when you bring data from the SQL server or MDB database, you just press refresh, it will update the pivot table when the database is updated, but in this case it's not. Okay, so you must refresh the table, then you refresh the pivot table. Okay, so this way you can overcome the error. The type of connection selected cannot be used to create a pivot table, that error. So you use the, instead of insert a pivot table and external data source, instead of this you use data from text. Okay, external data from text, then import the data, then create the pivot table, then refresh the imported data and refresh the pivot table. Hope this video is helpful to you as a workaround for this error. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. The Alan Sam button is already appearing on the screen itself. Please click on that to subscribe. And if you have any comments and suggestions, please state in the comments box. And God bless you.